Yeah, you just guaranteed both Madam Web and Morbius by complaining about Madam Web somehow. Yeah, just take it.
How much of the Sony Marvel universe could we go through? As ready as we'll ever be.
Yep. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Fine, I'll Watch It. I am Smoking Fat Jay.
I am Matt Christie.
James Cope, eh?
James
Why
Cope.
not?
James Cope is just he's digging holes, man. That's what he does. He comes in here, brings his biggest shovel.
I would watch Madam Web and Morbius.
Yeah.
I missed Morbius because I need to look myself in the mirror. So if I paid money to see Morbius in the theater, I don't think I could look myself in the mirror.
If
so
you become the new living vampire, you won't have to ever see yourself in the mirror, bro.
I know. Oh my God. Yeah.
We all paid money for Aquaman.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Again, Madam Web looks so bad. I know a couple very vanilla reviewers who never say anything's bad. Like found their mother head cut off and is like, well, I know she always had neck pain. Would be like, like motherfucker can and even those motherfuckers are like, I don't know what they're doing with this Madam Web. You know, it's like even the people that love everything don't know what to. And we're gonna review it here.
Every fourth TikTok is that girl saying, well, in the comics I saw her upside down, and so so they're throwing it out there.
That is a topic for 3 weeks from today.
Yeah, 3 weeks from today. We'll be there, and it's coming soon. The
Jesse,
live commentary Morbius.
Jesse, can you put a Madam Web countdown on our show?
Oh God, yeah. Down to the second, please. I need like the video game style where it rolls through the seconds too, man.
You know, we used to like comics. We used to like comic books. You guys remember that?
Did we like comics, or did we just have so much self-loathing that we just read them because we hoped
we knew enough about them to argue, I think was what it was, to have something to argue about. But that's neither here nor there. It's not what we're talking about this week. This week,
we're talking about a different comic property.
We're talking about a different comic property. Last week we did Scott Pilgrim. What was it called? Takes Off, which is a new Netflix series, kind of a retelling of the Scott Pilgrim story, which led us to watch this again. Which you guys, James says is in his top 30.
It's very interesting because our review last week of the new TV show, we straight up had one of us didn't like it, one of us really liked it, and one of us was a little bit of both. And then it got me thinking about the movie and the comic because maybe just Scott Pilgrim is kind of a polarizing thing. I hate the comic. And I still hate the comic all these years later. The hate never died. And the movie, I think I was actually thinking about this last couple of days because I rewatched it. I wanted to rewatch it before we started talking about it, and I rewatch it about once a year. If I made a list of my top 25 films of the last 25 years, like 2000 to now, this wouldn't be in the top 10, but this would probably be in the top 25. It might even be in the top 10. Like it really is that. I feel that highly about this film.
That's some good math.
There you go. Yeah.
It won't be in my top 10.
Won't be in my top 10, but
it might be in my top 25. But it might be in my top 10.
Definitely in my 25.
Yeah.
And when you divide that by 2, it's 12 and a half.
Oh,
nice.
Snap.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
I did extra homework. I went ahead and read the comic again too because I've been longer since I'd read the comic. The comic was good. I mean, I liked the comic okay. I will come through and say, we usually start with our general feelings on this. I think I liked it better than I did before. I came at it and I had a great time. I actually waited until today to watch this movie. And
I did it last night. Because I write out my stupid notes.
Yeah, I had really forgotten so much about the movie, so much about the comic, just in general. And something that we talked about last week too is that makes me even a little harsher on the show was something we talked about was the battle scenes. Like I forgot how awesome the battle scenes were, and also how it wasn't just fighting. Like the fighting was awesome, but it was always the figuring something out. And they did it they did these real cheesy things throughout this movie in such a smart way that I was just like, oh shit, that's awesome. And I'd forgotten so much about it, so it was nice to
what you just said sums up this movie, which is cheesy in the right way. Like, what is, if cheesy was like a genre of film, what would be the Citizen Kane of like knocking everything out of the park in such a two-dimensional fashion? And that's this movie.
It's very self-aware of the cheese.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? Like every bit of it. Like there's not really, like I didn't feel like anything in this movie was done haphazardly. Like everything felt, even though it felt chaotic, you know, but yeah, like really the details were paid attention to. So I had a great time.
I absolutely love this movie, but it has two weak points, I guess is what I'll say. The weak points being the Katanagi twins. They're like, we didn't know what to do with them, so we're going to do this.
Sure, yeah, they're going to be the Asian Daft Punk.
But I love that song, man.
Oh no, it's wonderful.
Threshold. It's a banger of a scene. God damn it! All right.
I'm just saying it's weak compared to the rest of the narrative for the other characters.
Sure.
So, and the other weakening thing is the actual ending they went with in theaters.
Yeah. I will,
because it's not the logical ending to how the movie was going.
Absolutely. That will be you hit one of the flaws for me on the head. Obviously, the other flaw is, you know, just some of the whole problematic parts of the story itself. You know what I mean? But
different age, different times.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, made me feel real bad thinking about how hot that girl was too. You're like, oh, okay.
I went into this movie with a good amount of haterade, like I do most movies, because my first impression with this film was I was a huge Edgar Wright fan. And when they were like, he's finally got his Hollywood movie, he's doing a Hollywood, and it's based on this cool comic. And I was like, I read comics all the time. I don't know what the fuck Scott Pilgrim versus the World is. So I like went and found the comic, and it was only like half written at the time, and because the movie hadn't even come out yet. And I hated the comic. So I went into this going like, here's the guy who did Shaun of the Dead, followed it up with Hot Fuzz, and if his TV show that he did when he was 24 years old was spaced, and it's just like, I could not suck this guy's cock hard enough. Like he is a very talented filmmaker. And then also like his director of photography is Bill Pope, who did the Matrix bullet time thing. Mm-hmm. He is one of the best cinematographers ever in Hollywood, ever. And he is so good, he ruins film for a while. Like after he was such a badass maker, we had to live through that shot 8 million fucking times. Like Bill Pope is so good, he poisons the water. Like because everybody's going to rip him off the second he does it. He did the Spider-Man films. He was on this. I went into this movie really loving these people, but going like, I think this is the wrong project before I had seen it. And I don't care that much for Michael Cera as an actor. He's fine. I love Superbad and I like Arrested Development, but he's like, in my opinion, he's like the weakest part of Arrested Development. And so I'm not a huge fan of his. And I left this movie super fan number one. Like I left this movie with looking for merch in the lobby after I watched it the first time, and I probably rewatch it once a year. So, but let's get into the good and bad of it. So,
all right. I mean, just going from the start, like, you know, it takes you into a whole different world, and it doesn't hold your hand through it either. Like, it's just like, hey, this is it. This is what we're doing.
It's not hard to follow, but it also, like, every time it introduces magic, we don't have time to explain the magic. Like, fuck explaining the magic. We're just moving on with it.
They literally have Ramona Flowers rollerblade through, say, hey, it's subspace. So use it as a shortcut. See ya.
Well, he's dreaming about her, and he's never met her. How is he dreaming about her that he's never met? Just in a writing, problem. And then to say, like, oh, she rollerblades through his subconscious because it's a shorter way to get across Toronto. And that makes no fucking sense, but it doesn't need to. Like all the magic that happens in this movie is a throwaway who cares? And why would you care? What makes time travel possible in fucking Back to the Future? Flux capacitor. How? Who
And again,
gives a
they're
shit? It's just
leaning
a flux
into
capacitor. Like, it doesn't tell us the rules and we'll buy it. I
Yeah.
think the audience will accept any rule, and so you don't. If you want to spend a half hour explaining some weird ass, half-ass magic science shit, go ahead. But if not, just who gives a shit? And they do that. They do that so much in this movie. It's fucking remarkable. So,
well, the whole fight with the X's too is just even a thrown away thing because they have the letter, the email that was sent to Scott that Scott just like,
he skims
so boring. You didn't even get to read it.
Well, I think they're leaning heavy into like these tropes, like the magic pixie girl too. You know what I mean? Where it's like, here's magic pixie girl that floats through your dreams, which we'll get to. That's another reason why the ending really kind of bothered me. You know what I mean? But
and the comic does the whole asterisk thing that comics are known for, which is you have to put an asterisk next to a word that appears in dialogue or whatever like that, and you put a box down below saying, "Hey, this is what this means." But the movie just like skips out on that.
Yeah, well, they do a little bit of it with like the little stats that they throw up on some of the people, throughout. Which we got to talk again.
That's all video gamey stuff. But
yeah. But I mean, like that is in the same vein, you know what I mean, of giving you a little bit. But they don't. You're right. They don't do a ton of it.
And before we go too further into we'll start in with our dislikes. I want to say this about the movie. This is a movie based on a comic, and the comic in my opinion, the comic sucks. We'll get into that later. But I don't like the comic. I argue that this is not a comic book movie at all. This is without a doubt, 100%, the greatest video game movie made so far. Out of you give me every video game movie, every movie based on a video game. This is a better video game film than all of them. And what are the video game references? Just plot moments and things that help move plot real quick. We start with an 8-bit Universal. We hear Zelda music all over the place. They have health bars. The main fight, there are 8 levels. There are actually 8 bosses for him to fight. He only fights 7. There is an 8th one that shows up at the end, and it's not a fight. So we got our classic 8 video game levels. Everybody who dies turns into coins. He gets a 1-up life that saves his life. The final move is finished off by doing a Dance Dance Revolution move. And this is, for my money, this is the best.
Levels up for understanding love and then having
he levels up because
self-respect.
all this stuff, all of it.
Gets
This
a 1-up.
Schwartzman goes full Ganondorf at the fucking end where he like gives himself a bunch of extra levels right as you fight him. And it's just like, this is a better video game movie than any video game movie we ever had. So it's like that for me, even more importantly about how I feel about this film, I think like if you're going to make a video game movie or something, you might want to look at this, because even though it's making fun of that, it still executes it better than most people could.
So what James is saying, James is saying right now, is it's time for a Captain N reboot. Captain N.
God.
You cannot wait until we are reviewing the either Captain N live action television show or the movie that's coming out.
But the thing that makes this
I need you to put the Captain N Simon Belmont next to James for the show now.
We'll go back to this, but the thing that makes this film work so well is Edgar Wright. At the end. He's the one who cast this cast. He wrote this screenplay with another person. He took that horrible comic and made it something workable. It's like that's really how I feel a lot about this movie. I think Edgar Wright is he's the Jon Favreau on Iron Man, where it's like he came into this and him and Bill Pope and gave us the movie we have. But first, let's go into the things that don't work in this movie, and there are things that don't work in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about it already with like you said,
the Kenanite twins don't work for how the flow of the movie goes up to the point that he battles them.
See, I disagree.
I think the battle works for the rest of the movie.
Right.
The Kananagi twins being formidable X's don't work the way that all the rest of the X's do.
Right. They get no
that's
character.
where their problem is. It's not that the fight is bad, it's that them as characters for everything else that's been in this movie is what's bad.
Look, let me just tell you something. The Asian jokes were a little bit, wow, okay. Like, how long ago was this movie? It doesn't seem like it was that long. But like the weird talk about and it kind of falls into the thing with Knives Chow too at the beginning when he's describing her, and then he gets to the point to where she's Chinese, and the reaction of everyone is just like. And then there's the other one, which is actually a great joke that I laughed a lot at, which was, I'm inviting you over to my house for dinner. And he says, for Chinese food? And she goes, no, to meet my parents. And he's just like, yeah, that stuff was
Edgar Wright
something.
writes comedy. Edgar Wright loves that British sort of dry, every line has a double meaning.
Mm.
And it's all throughout this.
And Michael Cera, perfect for that. Like his timing is amazing. You know what I mean?
Everybody who is cast in this is fucking perfect in their role.
True.
Like that's like we'll get into that in a second. But we're supposed to be talking about the things we don't like. Coke Zero. Can we talk about Coke Zero? Can we acknowledge Coke Zero?
I think it was
Coke Zero as a narrative choice is fine.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Like, it's like someone told Edgar Wright, you got to promote some Coca-Cola in this because this is fucking who's paying your salary. And he said, cool. Well, I'm going to make it kind of the most fairy boy Coke there is, Coke Zero, which I love actually, but you know,
It's Edgar Wright, and when I was in Europe, Coke Zero is the #1 fucking drink over there. Like it was in France and in Belgium.
Coke
like
Zero's
when you
pretty
got there, it was like, oh, they have Coke. I guess we'll get a Coke or a coffee or something. And they were always like Coke Zero, Coke Zero, Coke Zero. Like it's the first drink on their thing.
Mm-hmm. So Coke is your sponsor, but the Zero fits narratively because that's Michael Cera or Scott Pilgrim's number. Basically, Scott
Pilgrim is zero. Like he's zero,
and that's the whole point of it, and which is why it works brilliantly. You could have Pepsi Zero; it's interchangeable, whichever one was your bigger sponsor, Pepsi or Coke. But that's the biggest narrative choice on it, and it works wonderfully for that reason. Yes, it's a blatant advertising for Coke, but without the Wayne's World charm.
Also, works with video games too, because how many video games from back in the day had
it's
Coca-Cola on them, or you get the Burger King disc with Burger King games on them. King driving a car.
Coke Zero on our fridge at home, but no, that's why it's there, and Ed Wright makes it work.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot. Like it's not. They fucking name drop Coke Zero at least 3 times. Like I rewatched it yesterday, and I was like, really want a Coke Zero after this.
But the third time he says Coke Zero, and he does that awesome slap that I'm just like I just have to take a moment to say, once in my life, I want to walk into a room where I just get to smack the shit out of a drink. And be mad, you know what I mean? Like I want that to happen one time. I need it.
Yeah.
So,
we'll talk about it where we land on this. I don't like Scott ending up with Knives Chow.
No, she doesn't end up with Knives. He ends up with Ramona.
He ends up with Ramona.
He should end up with
Knives. James is saying he doesn't like the ending that should have been.
Oh, you don't like that?
There's a deleted scene on the Blu-ray and DVD, and actually, I would recommend owning this because the commentary is amazing. The behind-the-scenes stuff's amazing. Mm-hmm. The reason why nobody gives a shit is this movie. The other thing I hate about this movie is this movie bombed. Edgar Wright was up for a 3-picture deal with Universal. The same thing happened to John Carpenter on John Carpenter's The Thing, another brilliant film that did not make money. But it was the other 2 movies were dependent on how the first one did. Mm-hmm. He had done Shaun of the Dead for $1 million. He did Hot Fuzz for $3 million, and this was a $60 million movie with another $25 million in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And it would bring in $30 million at the box office.
Yeah, which is, I mean, the money was all well spent in this movie. This movie looks really good, except for one scene, which is the weird lightsaber scene at the end. The weird lightsaber scene at the end felt very Tron to me. It didn't. I mean, maybe it was purposefully done that way, but it didn't look great.
On seeing it in theater on the big screen, that giant versus as they both jumped through the sky, it was like at that point I was like, are they selling Scott Pilgrim shirts?
Yeah.
Like I was already like a super.
I love I think everything really again looks great. I just had one issue with that, you know, the scene at the end,
the
where
final battle and them just doing like there's a lot in the.
There's a lot of great things in that battle, but that particular part got a little bit.
Also, him losing and using the extra life and coming back is an old cliche and stupid and making us watch the same. But using it as a one-up works well in the narrative of things, and he's able to fix his mistakes. So I like how they use it, but it is a cliche that's just like fucking done to death. It can be very boring if done wrong.
Also used in Ready Player One.
Yeah, and that's where there's a lot wrong with Ready Player One.
Ready
maybe we should stay on theme and do Ready Player One next week.
God, where is it? If it's on something.
Live commentary, that one.
Live commentary, Ready Player One. Just try to call it all the things in that fight.
Just we should keep a tally for each person if we do that, to how much money they paid for each property that we continue to see, and see who gets closest in the end, because that's where all that money went. Okay, so you think before we get off of that, so you think that him ending up him ending up with Ramona at the end was the right choice? If Knives Chow is the wrong choice? Okay, why?
Yes.
Why?
Not
why?
Discounting what was shot.
Okay.
Why?
Well, here my thing is, one, the age difference gap would be a bit much,
Yes.
because you do a lot of growing between 21 and 20. It might be different in Canada, but the other thing is we have removed, and we'll get into why I like this so much in just a second. I'm not looking at the comic book at all. The reason why he can't end with Knives Chow in the movie, which is the only thing in the Scott Pilgrim universe I really love or care about, is the fact that he went, for whatever reason, he was seeing this girl while he was trying to get over a different girl, and he started dating a girl that was kind of like a rebound thing that he was doing just to have somebody to talk to. And Knives Chow fit that purpose, but for the narrative of him getting over the ex, ditching the rebound girl that is obviously not the person he is trying to get to. And so the person he's trying to get to is the person that would be with Ramona, even though in the plot of this, Ramona is a prize to be won, which was a hot way for fucking writing there for a minute in Hollywood. But it was also like, I think in this, it's making fun of that concept too. So this gets to kind of have its cake and eat it too when it kind of deals with that.
I think that you're right, all the way up until the ending. I think that they portrayed Knives Chow as a bit of a.
She grows up, but that doesn't mean she grows up. But that doesn't mean her and Scott end up together.
I
know. That's her own story.
I agree with you. And that would have been fine as a tail ending thing for me. My problem is at the very end, they really lean on the connection that is outside of Knives Chow being obsessed with Scott Pilgrim, because they play that throughout the whole movie, and that's really, I think, the way that you play it until the very end. But having her come in and be really hammering home this connection up to the point to where he's dreamy-eyed with her at the end, where he's not dreamy-eyed because she's obsessed with him, which would be the reason why you would maybe have him kind of get into that spell again. But I don't think that that's worth doing either, because you should have been showing Scott Pilgrim at the end have matured past needing that too. But see, that didn't even make sense, because like what I'm saying is is they showed this connection. They beat him with their Dance Dance Revolution. They'd already showed earlier how connected they were with that, and then how when he was thinking about other girl, all of a sudden they were losing. So yeah, they come back to that. They're back in connection. Like the end really hammers home, I think, of this movie at least. It hammers home that they were connected. Now, I will agree with you. For the problematic stuff of her age throughout, really great to have him end up with her.
It's also like she's representative of the rebound. He is not happy with himself. Nobody's happy with himself because he hasn't gotten over the girl. He's fucking sleeping in his gay roommate's bed with him. Like he has nothing other than a lame poster on the wall. And so it's he needs to become this new fucking Scott Pilgrim. So
he needs to be challenged. He needs to have. I mean, I feel like, you know, Knives Out is the guaranteed. This girl will adore me forever. And you know what I mean? And then this girl is a mystery.
Ending as Knives Chow finally grows up.
No,
like,
I agree.
She doesn't need to be.
I agree.
She doesn't need to be Scott Pilgrim fan. She can date young Neil if she wants to, and she could also jump into a club and kick some ass if she wanted to. And so it's like, I don't know. The movie for me a lot doesn't. It could still work if nobody ends up with each other. But yeah,
there you go. That's the
that's
best.
what I see. So what I said before was that the ending that is shown in theaters, it doesn't fully work for me.
Okay.
I'm not saying that he has to end up with knives, because the Netflix show basically fixed the Ramona problem.
Yeah, it did.
That still exists in the movie at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And it's not that Ramona's the problem. It's the character of Ramona, with regards to the overall story, is a problem just in general.
Yeah.
But I even say Edgar Wright in this film has his cake and eat it too with this as well. Why is she like that? There's a chip on the back of her head controlling her. Like that's until it shattered.
But he got that from the comics, so it's something that's borrowed there.
But it's like,
and
at least in this film, there's a reason for that. And moving forward, that's not an element of it.
Look, I got to talk about, like, I think that you're so right. Like I did think I did put it at this, this duality of either is it with Ramona or with Knives, but the nobody is the better. Is maybe realizing that me and Knives are just good homies, and you have got a further adventure that doesn't fucking involve us. Like, because she does say at the end, Ramona's like, I don't know who I am. I still got to find that out. That then if Scott and her remain homies, and then they say, oh, she's gonna go off, you have a sequel perfect. You know what I mean? You could do whatever the fuck you want with Ramona Flowers now and show her find out who she is and actually make that pay off, which they did.
And you got a show that did that.
But they, so that's my problem. Is the ending is a little, I mean, doesn't really feel like earned. I guess.
It's a Hollywood ending. It's a Hollywood ending.
It's also a video game ending. Like,
it's also a video game ending.
Like,
it's an ending that goes with a lot of what they were showing in the movie, but definitely wasn't there
calling
during
Knives
the final.
Chow Toad saying your princess is in the other.
No, I'm saying
no.
Because my next part is that it's definitely not something that's in the end conflict of the movie, because Ramona's just sitting there the entire time. Knives is the one that's getting involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Ramona gets beat down at one point too in the end battle.
Hey, let me tell you something. The shock of remembering chicks getting knocked the fuck out in this fucking thing. When Brandon Ruth socked her in the face for just talking, right?
Just fucking punches her. Just real quick.
Young Neil.
We must go around the room and say who is our favorite of the evil exes. Like everybody's got a favorite. Like, do you guys have a like? I think Brandon Roth. I know everybody goes for so
Brandon
many,
Routh.
but God, Brandon Roth really is. He's such a good actor that never got to be.
It's really close between him, Chris Evans. Even though he starts out, I think we forget about him because he's like one of the first.
No, man, Chris
Number
Evans,
2.
he's the
Lucas
meme.
Lee.
The fact that he tricks him to skateboarding down, and it totally feels like Tony Hawk the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And just the extra bullshit that he put on. That one's great. Brandon Routh is great.
You have Roxy Richter. You have Matt Patel.
Mm-hmm.
Or Matthew Patel, excuse me. And
the twins.
Kazunagi twins. And then...
And look, I have to throw in, if we're talking about exes, that isn't one of the 7 evil exes, is talk about Brie Larson is great in this. Like
Brie Larson's... I use this as an argument about when I got to remind myself that she is a good actor.
Yeah.
Because
also sings that part, right?
She does.
She does sing that part.
Here's the fun part about that whole thing. So that is her singing in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is the band who wrote the song for her in the movie that is singing for her in the Netflix series.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's
Brie didn't sing for the Netflix series. It was the actual band who wrote the music.
She's too busy doing the Marvels, the musical.
She's singing, yes.
Yeah.
On that one planet.
Again, her performance in this is better than her performance in the Marvels. And she is playing a 2-dimensional character in this. So let's go ahead and cross over.
Who still has an arc. All right. At the end, like they do these subtle things that are so perfectly.
She kind of
planned.
misses Scott. Like
she kind of misses Scott. She admits that she's jealous.
Yeah.
And at the end, when he calls her Natalie, which they talk about earlier, that she's Envy now, and she used to be Natalie, but when she was, left me, she didn't want to be Natalie anymore. And then he just calls her Natalie at the end, hits her. Yeah. It's enough for like, again, it turned a 2-dimensional character into a 3-dimensional character with one line.
Yeah. But I think we're gonna love on this movie even more so because we just got through 2023, like where it's like no movie is this smart or interesting or well shot or anything we've watched. And so
last year no, but the year before that we had Everything Everywhere All at Once,
which was good, which was really good. Yeah.
So
it's really good. I've went back and watched that a couple times since then, and that one still hits me with some. Yeah, it's one that I like to. I get to a point to where there's these movies, and you know what? To be honest with you, a little spoiler alert for me on this one. This is probably going to jump into my group of ones where I'm going to show people. This is going to be one where it's like you haven't. We're older men here. You get to a point to where you're like, you've not seen this movie? Like I must show you this movie. And sometimes that applies to movies that aren't the greatest in the world, but you show them anyways for whatever purpose. But this one I think is going to go up on the list.
But yeah, it's when you have that friend who like says they never saw Shawshank Redemption, and you're like, well, fuck, man, like you should really watch it. Like this is a lot more fun than Shawshank Redemption. But yeah, this is still kind of a cult movie.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know it, and which is shocking because it had a major release. There's been video games based on it. There's a fucking comic. There's now a Netflix series, and the younger kids really like it. But like, they're definitely of our age group. A lot of people miss this.
I think people know of it more so than they did when it was released.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they've never seen it.
Like you said earlier, it became a meme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's things around. You know what I mean?
Highlights out of her hair.
It's like all of it.
God.
Like it's like we didn't make memes for this episode.
Who's the guy that plays young Neil?
Johnny.
Some of the best lines in the movie.
Everybody has the best lines in the movie. Like that's the
problem.
It's
so tough. When he's singing along, when he's like the guy singing along, and he fucks up the lyrics though.
He doesn't know the lyrics to the song.
No, Johnny said
he knows almost all.
No,
he knows almost all of them. He's the guy who wants to be in the band. Look as a guy who was a young Neil at one point in my life. You know what I mean? Friends in a band. I knew most of the words, but I'd still fuck them up every once in a while. Like I felt that big time.
We were all young Neil at one time, so it's nice to
100%.
The argument I always make on this movie is every line kind of connects to something else, which is very British comedy writing that Edgar Wright loves to do. Him and Simon Pegg with the Cornetto trilogy.
Right.
It really is a subtle Monty Python sort of stuff. Like, you know, a character will say, "I'm gonna blow you away," and then blows them up. You know, it's almost bad action liney.
Look,
Where it's like that.
I love Shaun versus the Dead. I love Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
But again, those are ones that I think, and maybe I need to go back and watch those, because before watching this again, I felt like I loved them, but I didn't ever really get why everyone felt like they were so iconic. Yeah, I do like Monty Python
Shaun
style
of the Dead
stuff.
and Hot Fuzz are even more gangster than this movie has a lot of connecting back, but Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead do as well.
I would agree with that,
scary
but I think that there's that it's that British humor, okay?
Yeah.
It is that, okay, yes, I love it, but I don't connect to it as much as I did with this watch of this, where maybe it's because they're in Canada, you know what I mean, and it's a little bit closer, but you know, but also with the video game humor, where it was like the connection with this movie, I think, at least up to this point, was a little bit different than those, and I would say that, in my opinion, out of those that we talked about, especially Hot Fuzz, I really like Shaun of the Dead. Hot Fuzz, I wasn't overly impressed with. I got it.
You know what's funny?
What I mean?
Over in Europe, Hot Fuzz is their biggest moneymaker. It was
I believe it.
It's the
I believe
Hot
it.
Fuzz in the UK is what they're known for.
I feel
When
like
they get
there's a lot of
introduced on
inside
shows there.
baseball on that if you're British or more even in tune with that kind of a thing, that you're getting a bunch of extra out of that. Where I think in Shaun of the Dead, zombie movies you're getting, and
Well,
then
also,
the British stuff. You know,
same thing happened to Monty
this
Python.
video games. You know,
In the UK, they did not care for Holy Grail. They thought Holy Grail was kind of basic bitch, but Life of Brian they loved. And then in America, we loved Holy Grail, and Life of Brian was nice.
See, that's weird. I like Life of Brian.
That's because
I like Life of Brian better.
That's that Jesus
Oh,
guy.
really?
So
Oh,
maybe
okay.
I don't know why I'm the opposite on Monty Python then.
You might be British.
I might just need to be watching all these movies
My
again.
wife loves The World's End.
The World's End's great.
It's a great movie. It's the only one that's not genre specific.
They
Is
went,
it
you know,
not?
they talk about it
Not
in the
really.
commentary. It was he said this one was trying to go sci-fi, but that none of them are very good sci-fi writers. he says it in the World's End commentary. He is like it very much we wanted to do Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets The Day the Earth Stood Still, and he was like, and we can't write like that.
Yeah.
So when you pick a genre and you can't really write that genre, you get World's End. But I love World's End. World's End is brilliant too.
But that one leans way into the comedy and less into the make this make sense.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Should we talk about the soundtrack?
We're still in the negative. Remember all this negative we've been talking?
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
I feel like we've been trying to really find it. Yeah.
No, the music on this movie
Amazing.
is perfect.
Every bit of it amazing.
Every song, it's like even like many of the songs are songs.
What are you doing, Jesse?
Don't.
I don't need Angry Orange Scott Pilgrim.
I love it.
But it's like even like they have new songs and they have songs they invented for this film, but then they'll like throw in, you know, the Rolling Stones and shit, like Under My Skin.
Hey, let me tell you, Under My Thumb, they paid.
Under My Thumb, man. Fucking.
I would love, Jesse, if you would look up how much they had to pay for Under My Thumb. I would say of the $60 million budget, that was a chunk of that.
At least five. Probably at least five for that one.
$5 million?
Yeah,
No,
Edgar
probably
Wright
not.
didn't get paid as much as Mick Jagger.
No,
did for this
definitely
film.
not. He probably got paid half of what it cost for that 15 seconds of that song. But it was so perfectly placed. It was so perfectly placed. It was the flip to her going with Gideon. And
when after I got done watching this movie, I went and I tracked down the soundtrack because I was a little upset watching the movie that they kept ending the songs early. because each song was fucking was more interesting than I had heard out of a lot of movies recently.
Hey, let me talk for a second. Let me talk for a second about how much everybody sucked dick for that fucking Doctor Strange versus Doctor Strange music note scene. Okay? They do 3 of those way better in this fucking movie. Okay?
Yes.
Like like
that's
their band. That's actually a negative that I have. Their band is supposed to kind of suck, right?
Yeah, and they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, and they don't suck. Like they're
But-
basic punk shit, but it's
in
good.
the description, and this is one of the reasons why this movie works so well, is these are 2-dimensional characters. In the comic book, Scott Pilgrim can do 2 things well: play bass and fight. Those are the only 2 things he is given. And so in this movie, what are the 2 fucking things Michael Cera does not fuck up at? He can play bass and he can fucking fight. And so it's which is great. Like, it's a wonderful way to start a 2-dimensional character into something bigger. I know they suck, but like, he is the best. The first time that they really knock it out is Threshold, I think. But I think when we go into that, he's so mad at that point in the story. He is playing his heart out. And the twins knock the roof off the place before they can even get started. You know, it's I was mad.
Well, but he does it earlier when he fights Brandon Ruth a little bit too.
Yeah,
but it doesn't end up actually.
But he loses the bass battle. I think it's.
He does lose the bass battle. But
I think it's great that all of it's real from the actors. Like, the actors are actually playing it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's be real. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
like, again, they're playing punk. Yeah. It's not hard to play it, but it's hard to play it with that passion.
Yeah.
You know, but it's, I mean, he's playing 3 notes the whole time. Like, Brandon Ruth's character was killing it on the bass. Was that him?
That was him.
That was him playing it?
Everybody was
I'm
playing.
impressed by that because he was playing.
Well, I believe Sarah's the only one that came in with
a little bit
knowing how to play his instrument.
Look, you could teach someone how to play his bass parts in 3.5 minutes.
That's fine, but
just saying. I'm not even a good bass player.
Out there.
It's
we hear it. Fine, I'll watch it. Support the bass community.
Yeah. Right? Let me tell you what was hard though. What's hard is playing those 3 notes while going like this shit. You know what I mean? So that's the hard part of it.
So if you're not doing that on stage,
you want me to play this next week? Okay, you got it. Yeah. I got it. I'll steal my kid's bass, bring it down tomorrow.
Bass battle against yourself.
Yeah.
Before we end, like, I also kind of are going into more of the stuff we like. All the characters in this movie are 2-dimensional, I believe, other than Scott Pilgrim, Ramona Flowers, and Knives Chow. Everybody else is kind of everybody can be boiled down even to like one thing. Wallace will always be snarky. His sister will always be disapproving. You know, every character is just young Neil will always be naive. Kim will always be grumpy. Like, everybody has just got these kind of base things that they go to. And doing that, we really, the little that they explore with Scott and Ramona, we really get developed into in such a short time. This movie is an hour and 57 minutes, and we get more out of the roadmap of these characters than we do in most films that are much longer.
I'll go a step further. I don't think that most of those other characters are 2-dimensional. I think by the end, they do such a great job at making most of them 2.5 dimensional, maybe.
Miranda Julie is 1dimensional.
Julie,
and she's played by Aubrey Plaza, so that's just all you need.
Yeah,
and I think wasn't Audrey Plaza and Michael Cera like married or dating at this time?
I think they were dating at this time. Yes.
Yeah. Which makes it all more fun.
But like little things like young Neil again, just graduating to being Neil, and you know, taking over. You know what I mean? Like, and they set it up. Hey, I gotta go. Neil knows all my parts. You know what I mean? Like, Neil's been there. He's fucked up on the lyrics, but he's paying attention. You know what I mean? Like even that little moment is like Neil is here and he wants to fucking, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that guy. What was that Mark Wahlberg movie where he sings in the audience and gets the fucking gig? He wants to be that guy. You know.
Boogie Nights.
Is it?
But like that's why I love young Neil in this movie so much. Like that was one of the things. Like in the Netflix series, every time young Neil showed up, all I can see is this fucking goofy kid, this goofy actor's non-expressive face.
It's the poor man's
going through life, not really knowing what the fuck
Justin
is happening.
Bieber.
Yeah.
But with him. Also with Kim,
they feel two-dimensional, but they feel like you understand them, know them,
They
these
give
people.
them the slightest level up by the end. Kim, you get the half smile. The half smile is giant for the character that you've given.
It is. And let me quickly say about Kim. Kim is the only main secondary character that's underserved by this movie. If you know her character in the comics, she's the only one in this movie that's underserved by it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Stephen Summers, that's his character. All his other friends, those are their characters. But Kim has more to her. It's just in this movie, it obviously doesn't have time for her because it's about Scott and Ramona.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the only one underserved by this movie who deserves more for.
What's the lead singer's name again?
Andy Adams?
No. Of their band.
Scott. Scott.
They're both Scott?
Not Scott. Steven Stills.
I just call him the talent because that's what they call him.
They call him the talent. As a guy who was a lead singer of a band one time, it's pretty, pretty accurate. Like the terror before some of those shows, I was having a little PTSD in a couple of those moments where,
Dude, him collecting the coins at the end, like, hey, we all been there. Like, we've all,
as the lead singer who footed the bill for a lot of our band stuff back in the day, you collect those fucking coins, bro.
Yep.
Whatever you got. You sign that
contract,
you go for it, Yep. Yeah, for sure.
I did get a little pissed off at that point too when Scott wouldn't sign the contract. I'm like, bro, this guy's stealing your girl anyways. Take his fucking money. Take his money.
I love that whole transition from the point that they agree to do open for his ex-girlfriend's band who broke his heart.
Tall, dark,
and they're just like, hey,
out,
we need the work. And he just goes, I hate you all, but okay. Like, it's so, again, the script is so smart. Every line is doing the lifting of 10 fucking things. And so, which works really well with the sense of humor of the film, of having every line kind of have two meanings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I did mention at the end, the lightsaber scene a little bit. I do want to say, though, and I had forgotten how this ended out in the movie, right? But the fact that you come back and they do that very Zelda scene where, hey, I got to fight myself, but he doesn't fight him and he comes out and they're homies.
Yes.
Man, that got me good because when they were gonna fight, I was like, shit, there's another fucking fight. Because I felt, and this is where I think so many things were methodically planned, where I think they understood so much that you were gonna have a little bit of exhaustion from him getting the one up and going and redoing that fight, even if they did do it kind of fast. There was a lot of added. And then all of a sudden they give you this other guy that you're going to fight. And I was like, shit, I don't fucking really feel like I got it for this. And then for them to end it out that way and just do the cut again.
It both works for what the audience is willing to do, what we need in order of the storytelling, but also who Scott is as a person now. He doesn't need to fucking beat the shit out of everybody. He could just talk to them about fucking going and getting brunch. Mm-hmm. You can get those the French toast with a side of bacon. It's not bad. So I storytelling wise, it's brilliant.
Because after the first X, he didn't it wasn't his bass playing or his fighting that was able to get him out of any of those situations. He beat Patel.
Yep.
He fought Patel, right? Okay? But then he couldn't outfight Chris Evans.
Nope.
He couldn't outbase Brandon Routh.
Nope.
You know, it took Ramona to take out the girl.
Mm-hmm.
It took the whole band to take out the guy. Like, you know, when you start picking it apart, you can see the meticulous. So as people who say I couldn't write sci-fi, they could write the fuck out of video games.
Well,
you know?
I really think I am, again, I'm super fan number one for fucking Edgar Wright, and I like when he writes with Simon Pegg, because Simon Pegg's better at
Claire Rock
character development. But yeah,
that's her jam.
This is one of the best scripts written in the last 25 years as far as films go.
And even with the Negascott at the end of the movie sets it up. Because the character is in the DDR game that they're playing.
Yep. He sees himself in the fucking mirror.
And because they make that line, I can never beat my cancer.
Oh.
Yeah. Every moment, every line. What's funny is this kind of storytelling reminds me a lot of if you ever, for fucking God knows reason, I went and I watched the 10 Commandments again. The fucking Cecil DeMille, Charlton Heston as an Egyptian, fucking 10 Commandments movie. You ever seen that piece of shit?
Wait.
Over Bible Hollywood? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I need a moment.
Okay.
I need the story behind why you chose this happened this year?
Yeah, like 3 months ago.
Oh, 3 months ago. I want to know why in 2023 you either made the decision or were forced beyond this show to watch the 10 Commandments.
The Cecil DeMille.
Were you feeling extra religious or?
Oh, I guess God's coming for you, James.
Look it. There it is.
There you go. Ah!
Oh.
No. There it is.
No.
No, I was talking to a couple of people about all the celebrities that are in that 10 Commandments. People forget that Vincent Price is in it, Edward G. Robinson's in it. Like, there's a bunch of like fucking celebs in that goddamn. That it's a lot of movie.
Yeah.
Or no. It wasn't 10 Commandments. It was Ben-Hur.
Oh.
It's Ben-Hur with them. I was watching Ben-Hur, and I am not religious, and I don't give a shit about that film. I just was watching it because I'm a crazy person. And
were you drinking?
Maybe.
Shirt off?
Yeah.
He wasn't watching.
Did you have the oil out?
He wasn't watching Spartacus. He was watching Ben-Hur.
I wasn't watching Spartacus. I had the celluloid closet playing in the background.
It was a triple feature. It was Ben-Hur, Spartacus, then Caligula.
Yeah, exactly.
To cap the night
just
off.
To fall asleep to. You gotta fall asleep to something.
Also, there was a lot of ecstasy and Blue Chew, the sponsor of this show.
So, but I was rewatching Ben-Hur, and I was shocked how like every line in that movie connects to 4 other scenes. Like the fucking setup in that movie hit you in the face 10 fucking times, and I never noticed it. And then it was very interesting to go like, wow, there was a time where if the studio was going to roll out a big film, the script was given just as much attention as anything, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I want to point out the attention to detail on this particular show. Fine, I'll watch it. As how Jesse has made it, how Steamboat Willie back there looks like he's fucking your head over and over through the whole show. That I just noticed right now. I'm just saying.
As soon as
the writing.
That bitch went public
fine,
domain,
I'll watch
he's been
it.
doing
Jesse,
that to everybody.
good job.
Well,
you do drugs.
I mean, what do you have in Hollywood back then? How many original stories did you have compared to how many books did they adapt? How much of Shakespeare did they take and throw onto film?
I mean, it's still the same.
How much did they steal?
There's no difference now.
Yeah.
They just
there isn't.
have a contract that works really well to gather IP.
But your movies nowadays are stealing from other movies as opposed to just taking, hey, here's the hottest book off the shelf. We're going to put this on the film.
Yeah.
They say that everything derives from Shakespeare, anyways, right?
Yeah.
All stories.
I mean, because you got the story of "It's a Wonderful Life." Nobody cared for that. back when it came out, and it wasn't based on anything. It's like it was an original property. That's how much people care about original properties, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Sequel, remake.
Well, there's a reason why stories have been retold throughout time. Everybody is ripe for again, Captain N series, which should be coming
Captain
soon.
N series.
I can't wait until we review,
Motherfucker, you just said that's why man started telling stories.
Yes,
Captain
Captain N.
Captain N series.
Captain
I
N.
love that concept. I love cavemen and caves
Come
going,
on,
God damn it.
princess.
We got to start writing stories on the wall so someday we get a Captain N series.
That's
Jesus.
really all it's all about. I mean,
That's what it's about, motherfuckers.
if I can just see season 1 of Captain N on Netflix,
How
you're
much-
welcome to take me out back and
How much
brand
more
and shoot me.
in the remake is Simon Belmont going to be both macho, misogynist?
Man, who plays Simon Belmont though? Like, who's the guy?
Man, but
I feel like that is a Channing Tatum.
totally.
Perfection.
It is.
Totally.
As long as he
Danny
brings
DeVito as the Kid
Kid
Icarus.
Icarus? Yes.
Doing all the actual work.
Wait. Is
Tom
he?
Holland
Wait.
as
Is
Mega Man?
okay?
Mega
Okay.
Man sound like a smoker in that show.
I
don't
feel
you
like
remember?
those. I feel like
Yeah.
those actors in those roles are perfectly flippable. You
Fucking
can
Mega
flip
Man.
either of those. Danny DeVito can either be Kid Icarus or Mega Man, and Tom Holland can be either Kid Icarus or Mega Man.
I accept Danny DeVito
But-
as Mega Man, so we don't get the I'm Mega Man.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, those two interacting together. Who else do we have? The princess.
Mother Brain.
Oh, who's
Mother
Brain?
Brain? Mother Brain, no.
Oh.
Mother Brain,
Yeah, oh, no.
keep exactly as it was in the cartoon.
And Eggplant Wizard shits himself even more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, well we got a pitch. Excellent.
If Dom DeLuise was still
Hey.
alive, Dom DeLuise would play
exactly.
Eggplant
Paul
Wizard.
Paul Lilly, Captain N.
Nope, Paul Lynn's now playing Simon Belmont because you brought up.
Yeah, right. There you go. Oh
As
my
long
God.
as every line can also be linked back to gay sex, the way Charlotte's Web is.
Yes.
You know.
100%. Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
No problem. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it's a prerequisite for getting this greenlit, is that we
Yep.
have all those things. So I'm pretty sure. What's the lady that plays? Amanda Waller? What's her name again? Super awesome actress. Viola
Thank you.
Davis.
Thank you, Jesse.
Eggplant Wizard. They're just gonna do it. You know what I'm saying?
She's gonna land Eggplant Wizard.
Eggplant
no,
Wizard.
No,
They're
no.
gender flipping Eggplant Wizard. It's gonna be 100% fucking racist.
We need
and
Bryan
really good.
Cranston as the Eggplant Wizard, a la Breaking Bad.
He
like
might
him
have to
in his
be Mother
underwear
Brain.
standing in a road with like
Do you know who
sort of
played
head
Mother Brain?
makeup.
I don't remember his name.
Look up who Mother Brain
Bryan
because
Cranston?
No, Mother Brain.
I'm pretty sure Mother Brain was played by the same guy who played Little Shop of Horrors, Audrey 2.
Audrey
The
2
voice.
in Little Shop
And
of
he's
Horrors.
also
You are correct,
from
sir.
Parliament, right? Isn't he?
Levi
Yep.
Stubbs
Levi
Jr.
Stubbs Jr. There it is. There
Yep.
it is. That's right.
That's why I have no notes. Audrey
yeah.
2 will basically be Mother Brain.
Is he
So
still
Mother
around?
Brain
Did he
will just
die?
be
Did it say he
Audrey
died?
2 trying to kill our Captain N.
Is
We
We
Levi
couldn't
Stubbs?
ask for a better
have-
villain.
There's AI. We'll just bring his voice. And...
Yeah. Well, I'm sure
There you
some
go.
that dude from Walking Dead that did Red Skull could probably do his voice.
Fuck that. Jared Leto will be cast as the voice.
Get that gun out of my face.
Yeah, Jared Leto will not be cast as Mother Brain. He'll be cast as the
Don't.
voice of Mother
Don't.
Brain.
Don't.
We'll get an excellent performance out of it.
I just got real sad about this series that I was real excited about. And that's all your fault.
Jared Leto kills anything.
Canceled before we
Hey,
got green.
I belong.
Goddamn.
We've talked about this on the show before, but I belong to this group that is called a group where everyone is named Jared, spelled exactly the same way that I spell
Nice.
my name. Smoking Fat J is actually my name. It's Jared. It's spelled the same as Jared Leto. Look at, I'm just, look at, we're showing how the sausage is made here tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Just take
This
that.
is pretty.
Just take that in the back.
Behind the scenes,
You can
yeah.
find that
Take
on my
the background.
OnlyFans if you like.
Just take that in the background.
but,
Go back just the green, and we're done.
But yeah, no one in our group. Like we talk about a lot of people, famous people that spell the name the same that we want to get in our group. Jared Leto, never one of those guys. Never, not once. Everyone
No
is just
Jared
like, don't.
Letos.
Yeah, no Jared from Subway. No Jared Leto. You know what I mean? Yep. Same boat.
The No Homers Club.
Yeah. Yep, motherfucker. Yep.
Yep. Look, guys, I think we should just. Is there anything extremely that we need to say?
Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Here's what I would say. As far as like before we get to the rating, you can stream this on a couple things. I know it was on Netflix until today. It sent me because I didn't finish the credits.
Let me tell you. Yes. I watched it today. I literally went to Netflix today to watch it. I had to watch it on Prime.
Yep.
With new ads.
Yep.
Because I have not paid the $3.
And I'm with you on not paying that shit. So, but I honestly,
I kind of missed commercials. Like I didn't feel great about them showing up in this, but I did enjoy watching the Purina commercial with the cute cats and the fucking little doctors fucking thing. Like I missed them. It's been a long time. It kind of freaked me out that people are still spending like some money on commercials.
Just watch.
Do you think?
Just watch YouTube. That's all you get nowadays.
I don't. I pay for YouTube Premium, bro.
Oh fuck.
I don't. I've not watched, except for when I watch football. I don't ever watch commercials, and I haven't for 10 years.
On YouTube, I'm actually old man crazy where I'm at the point where I earmark creators who don't use ads. Like that's what level I'm at of crazy. Where it's like if I know a couple of people that'll post full episodes of Mystery Science Theater so I can watch and they won't require ads. So I follow that person. And that's kind of like where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
The dark YouTube, which is the original.
I guess.
Which is the original YouTube. It's like become the shunned version.
Exactly, the sad fuck section of YouTube. That's where you'll find me, friends.
Hey, I want to earmark. I want to earmark a little something just for a second. Mm-hmm. Did you guys see the? I know Paul Rubens passed last year, right?
Yes.
Did you guys ever see the Netflix Pee-wee movie?
Yes.
I think that's a great.
What's funny is I used to be at UCB doing amateur night with the guy who co-wrote it,
Joe Montaniano.
Joe
Montaligo. Paul Rust.
No. The guy who's in the movie with Pee-wee.
Just gonna earmark that for a great thing that maybe we should talk about later.
The person who canonically owns the hand of Vecna.
There you go. It's a.
Does he?
He does.
Wait a minute. Explain. Let's do a review.
No, I'm explaining now. Too late. In the Critical Role series, he guest starred with them during the campaign. They fought Vecna, and his character obtained the hand, and he teleported out with the hand. So he canonically owns the hand of Vecna in D&D.
It's great.
Yep.
Great.
You guys want to rate it or no?
Read what?
We're gonna rate it.
Or rate
let's rate the actual movie that we've been talking about, but not for the last 20 minutes. Yes.
Yeah. Ben-Hur?
Yes, we've been talking about Ben-Hur.
All right. What do we got?
I'm gonna start and give it 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Lesbian.
Yeah, exactly. Are we rating it by lesbians?
I'm in lesbians with this movie. It is.
So what?
Nice. There you go.
It's a Birkenstock and a flannel.
Yep. I give this one 5 out of 5 lesbians. I'm a character and plot guy. I like a good plot. I like fun characters. This movie has a very simple plot, but it does it well. It has two-dimensional characters. They're amazing. It is one of the most visually stunning movies, and it's the best video game movie, which is a major media component of the world of the last 50 years. And this did a better job presenting video games in film than any video game movie ever. This is in my top 10, top 25 films made of the last 25 years. This is a perfect film. And it's got flaws. It still has flaws, but it is a perfect film.
He said 5.
I give it a 2.
He said 5.
I give it a 2.
I will quote this movie for the rest of my life. just bring up random quotes and my favorite.
Yeah.
5.
5. You get 5. And
We're going to be 5 across the board.
Going back to my favorite X being 2. I will always use the line, "That's actually hilarious." just in a deadpan way to, yeah.
Each one of these guys is just chewing the scenery, and it works so well in this.
Jesse, what does the
God, Brie Olsen's entrance, she's standing in front of a poster of herself in a perfect framed shot so that she just moves from again, the director of photography, Bill Pope, Edgar Wright coming up with that concept. It's just so smart. Yeah.
And for you to forget that they're not mentioned that Bill Pope also was the DP on Army of Darkness is just so unlike you, James.
My favorite Bill Pope story from anybody was from Bruce Campbell. He was like, I got to see him during an Army of Darkness screening, and he said he realized Bill Pope was the talent, like kind of on Army of Darkness, because he was a producer, and if they got the shot, Sam would go like, "We got the shot," and he said he would always look over to Bill, as he called him, and Bill would move from behind the camera and go, or give him this, like a thumb up meant we got it, we can move on. And Bruce Campbell said, I quit talking to Sam because Sam was just fucking goofy as shit during Army of Darkness. And he was like, I only listened to kind of Bill on like, do we have the shot or not? And it's like, if he gave a thumb up, we had it. If he moved his head from the camera and shook no, we need to keep shooting. Like, he would go from Army of Darkness. He did Matrix. He did Spider-Man. And every time he does another film, he kind of fucks up the cinema for a while because everybody rips him off.
And as Miranda said, James Ford, welcome back, gives his rating. I still have my Army of Darkness poster hanging in my room. My poster.
Nice.
My poster.
Nice.
There you
go. Good.
Look at this. Might be a first. This is a 5 across the board.
We can't fit that many lesbians on one screen.
Oh, good Lord. Hey, I got a place for him to sit.
That's a Scott Pilgrim joke.
Yeah, I wanted to be inappropriate.
Tiny lesbians.
To be on theme. I could fit 2 tiny ones. This movie is not perfect in its execution, but I still must give it a 5 because there are so many swings that maybe misses in this that I appreciate the swings, and most of them are knocking it out of the park. You know, so I'm gonna give it a 5. Again, I do think that I could have went with the epiphany now that maybe no one ended up with anyone.
It's a much better story.
It's a much better story.
It's the real story,
and it may have made me. It may have really made me be looking forward to a sequel that wasn't the rebootish thing that they did. Like hey, let's see what Ramona needs to do to be a complete not.
But even that, like the TV show, for me, I like the ending a lot more than I like the beginning.
I did
because it was the ending was more like a sequel.
I did, but I think with that potential, no one, like Ramona goes off to seek her own, like journey from here. I think would have made me more excited for let's see a whatever you're gonna call it continuation of this, which isn't Scott Pilgrim animated series where we go back and we do a whole different thing. I think this with a different ending had a potential for a forward thing, but I also think this movie was way ahead of its time. Had this movie came out, what year did this come out?
2010, I believe.
2010. I still think that maybe 4 years would have done so much for this because there's a lot of anime. There's a lot of There's so much stuff that really didn't come into the proper ether of nerd in America, at least, which is where they really need to knock it out of the park. I don't think it was there yet, so I think it was ahead of its time. And I think anyone who hasn't visited this in a long time, this is a prime moment to revisit this
You can watch it with ads or without, depending upon how you do on Prime Video.
You can just own it on Blu-ray and watch it.
I mean,
Yeah,
James
I
Cope
highly
probably is
recommend
pirating
owning
it out somewhere else on
Yeah,
Vimeo
no,
or
there's
something, right?
archive.com has
You
many
can watch it in
different.
32 parts on James
YouTube.
Cope, Packaday
Yeah,
Productions
exactly.
TikTok.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there.
Starting next week.
Yeah, man, this is just one of those movies for me where it was like I went into this movie with haterade, and by the end of the movie, I was so blown away by it. And I rewatch it probably once a year. Like it's like to me, it's a film that has the amount of weights and weight and importance, and it is a shame that it bombed. But the humor in this movie is not that American. It was directed and co-written by a British comic, and so I think that would be like my one thing to say to people going into it. Stephen Fry summed up comedy between American and Brit so beautifully; it always stayed with me. He said, if you ever notice in American comedies, the lead comic male, your Jim Carrey's, your Bill Murray's, your whoever, even Woody Allen, whoever your American comic lead is, they have the biggest dick in the room. And when he says that, he's saying they're always right. Even when they're wrong, they're right. Like even when Elf is wrong, he still succeeds in the end, or he still is going to help everybody's life. Everybody in Ghostbusters, even though Bill Murray is a buffoon, he's right about stopping the ghost. So it's like no matter what, the American comic lead must
Or at very
always be
least
right.
they're
That's what we look-
relatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's what we look for. He said the British comic icon doesn't have the biggest dick in the room. Doesn't have the smallest dick in the room. He left his dick at home and did not realize it was a dick contest. Which that sums up British humor so well to me. Where it's like, yeah, they're not even and it's so the shaggy hair joke that shows up 2 or 3 times in this movie. I'm sure because Edgar Wright's 3 times, but it's like as soon as they mention his hair shaggy, boom, the hat is on his head. And it's it has this British comic sensibility. So if you're not into that, and I know some people that hate British comedy, this would be a tough movie to like. I get not liking it for that reason, but
hot take. James Cope says Brits like their small dicks.
No dicks. Like that was his point.
No
was like no. They left it at home. I love that.
It's in my wife's purse.
And yeah, it's yeah. I recommend this movie. I also recommend owning it on DVD or Blu-ray so you can listen to the commentary on the commentary track is brilliant. The insight into the movie. Edgar Wright doesn't hide shit. He's not your fucking Stanley Kubrick where it's like you got to figure it out. No, he tells you everything he set up and everything they executed, like in the commentary.
I love
it.
It's
really
cool. Check that out.
Also,
I really enjoyed James Gunn's commentary on the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
The same kind of idea where he's just like, hey, fucking, yeah, I'll tell you every goddamn thing I was thinking during this whole process.
Also by the
Edgar
soundtrack.
Wright, real quick before you go, Christian. Edgar Wright had a great insight on this. He talked about it when he was on tour for Hot Fuzz because he tells you all the secrets in the Shaun of the Dead DVD, and some geeks called him out. Like, why would you tell us all the subtext and every little line that means it in your commentary if we didn't want to know, if we wanted to find that on his own? And he said to the geeks, he was like, we're all arguing about what Stanley Kubrick meant with shit in his movies. And he is like, if I become a filmmaker to that level or even half that level, I don't want people arguing over what the fuck I meant in my movies. Like, so if you really want to know what I think, listen to the audio commentary. I'm going to tell you exactly how the sausage is made and why I made the sausage.
Sure. And I really appreciate the certainty on both of those. Like, I don't mind the Quentin Tarantino, what's in the fucking briefcase?
Yeah, it's up to you. There is an element to storytelling.
But go one way or the other. Yeah. Go one way or the other. Either be, here's what the fuck it is, or
I will never tell you what the fuck it is. Don't be cheeky about it. Yeah, just do one way or the other. Listen, guys, that's it. What are we doing next week?
I don't know. It's your guys' choice. I've been choosing.
Morbius live.
God, guys.
Are we watching Morbius live next week
Dude,
to set up for the Spum universe?
I gotta buy more vodka.
A good podcast that I listen to, which is the Planet Broadcasting podcast. It's called the Daily Planet. They call it the Spum universe. It's the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies. Spum. So I think we should. Morbius.
It sounds like what hobos call ejaculation.
Yes.
You know?
Spum.
I'm gonna spum all over you. It sounds like a hobo's cum.
Miranda, the only issue with that is everyone would have to own it on DVD because
I don't know what that is.
Los Gatos Cadaver. It's a wonderful B-schlock movie, but you'd have to own it on DVD to watch it.
Well, we could technically only one of us have to have it on DVD. We could. I don't have a DVD player.
Well, no, but that's my point. Is that everybody would, if they're going to watch it, they're going to have to watch it.
I don't think we have a DVD port in any computer that I own. I think I might have one.
That may be a live show if we ever do live shows.
Yes.
So you know what this is setting up for us though later in the year, right?
What's that?
Craven.
Well, Craven is going to be a certain thing that we're going to have to do later. And maybe when we do Craven, maybe we have to do all the Venom movies live.
I hear the Venom, like, I've only seen...
No, they're bad. They're bad.
I did not see the second Venom at all,
Good.
Except for scenes and clips.
No,
so, like, I don't even know that.
Is it on Disney yet?
That's a good thing. Yes, I think they are. Oh, well, yeah, not the second one yet. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get to there. Next week, Morbius live.
God damn it. No, like, to be continued. Can we say that first? Jesus.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, 1 week from now,
no lube, just get in there.
we will be with you watching Morbius. Where's Morbius?
Like,
Where can we watch Morbius?
Out, like, are you
Morbius
sure?
is on Disney, right? It's not? You have
I
to
don't
buy
know.
Morbius?
We'll see. We'll see where we get things and then do it that way.
Do they not have it on archive.com? What is this? What are we watching?
We'll figure it out. What is this? Ooh.
Oh, it's sexual.
It's like, is this from
Sausage
Party?
That's how the sausage is made and delivered. Yeah. If you would like your sausage delivered directly to you, make sure that you like and subscribe to Canoodle Studios and all of their fine, whatever. We're on Getting Nerdy on YouTube. We're doing all kinds of new stuff. Make sure that you check that out. Next week, look forward to the Morbius live stream where we do the commentary live. I'm just going to really just hammer it home right now. Unless we can find something better.
Pain in James's soul.
Listen, you gotta.
As he gives it 2 stars at the end.
I think I went and saw this in the movies twice. Yeah. I think I ended up having to watch this twice at the movies.
You had to?
Yeah, because my kid made me go and watch it. He got real mad because I went.
Oh yeah, that's right. You failed your kid.
Yeah, I know.
Miranda's gonna be sick next week.
Aw. No, I think Miranda's gonna.
Lucky duck.
Miranda actually gonna be in studio next week, just to be in the background.
We're just gonna leave our kid at home.
No, he can come. That's fine. Yeah, we're close. We're close.
Bring my 6-year-old to a smoke
shack. No one knows where we're at right now. We're in Sausage Land, bro. Just calm the fuck down. No one needs to know that.
Bring my 6-year-old to Sausage Land.
Excuse me, FBI. Just ignore
so much better.
All that shit that we just talked about. Listen, guys, we want to thank you for joining us for Fine I'll Watch It. Until next week, I'm Smoking Fat Jay.
I am Matt Christie.
James Cope.
And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye. What's going on up there?
What's that?
Oh, that's Scott Pilgrim.
The maniac.
Oh, he's